Hi, I'm the Guitar Trooper, YouTube's favorite old guy. It's February 27th, 1967. Paul McCartney's home, St. John's Wood, London, England, approximately 11 a.m. Paul is reading the new issue of London's Daily Mail, and a headline grabs his attention. A-level girl dumps car and vanishes. The story surrounds the disappearance of a 17-year-old girl from her family's home in Stamford Hill, England. The article portrays her as the schoolgirl who seemed to have everything, including her own car and a wardrobe full of clothes, both of which she left behind. Also included was a quote from her father saying, "I cannot imagine why she should run away. She has everything here. Even her fur coat." Paul pauses for a moment. He could use new material for the new recording project called Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and this sounds like a great idea for a song. He begins scribbling words and before long has a set of lyrics that tell the story of a girl leaving her home to escape a life of upper echelon social isolation. He names it simply She's Leaving Home, and has a classical string section concept for the backing track. He plans to get with John Lennon when they meet in the studio to discuss the lyrics and how to record the vocal track. To follow is the story of the development and recording of the oddly sad ballad on Sgt. Pepper, She's Leaving Home, and an astonishing coincidence behind the song, a serendipitous occurrence that neither participant was aware of until years later. This will be the only Beatles orchestral backing arrangement that is not penned by George Martin. Paul, finding George Martin to be otherwise occupied on a session with Cilla Black, and Paul eager to move ahead with the song's development, asked another arranger, Mike Leander, to do the score instead. George Martin initially takes this action as an affront, although Paul isn't aware of it, but agrees to conduct the string ensemble for the session. The musicians are contracted to record the track on Friday, March 17th. Friday, March 17th, 1967, Abbey Road Studios, Studio 2, 7 p.m. The orchestral track for She's Leaving Home is scheduled to be recorded. George Martin, mostly satisfied with Mike's score, makes only a few changes before the ensemble, consisting of 4 violins, 2 violas, 2 cellos, and a double bass, arrive for the session. Along with the ensemble is harpist Sheila Bromberg. Sheila will be the first female musician specifically commissioned to play on a Beatles recording. 6 takes are recorded, all of them being complete, and the orchestra is dismissed at 12:15 a.m. Monday, March 20th, 1967, Abbey Road EMI Studios, Studio 2, 7 p.m. Arriving earlier in the day, engineers Jeff Emmerich and Richard Lush have already reviewed all 6 orchestral takes and find the first one to be acceptable for use. Vocal overdubs for She's Leaving Home are scheduled with Paul and John only. John adds a Greek chorus-style background vocal during the refrain, accompanied by the narrator singing She's Leaving Home in a long sustained note style. In John's words, Paul had the basic theme, but all those lines like, "We sacrificed most of our lives, we gave her everything money could buy, never a thought for ourselves," and so forth, those were things Mimi used to say to me. He told that to Hit Parader in 1972 and said, it was easy to write. Well, as the session progresses, Paul is dissatisfied with one take after another, insisting upon repeatedly re-recording the song. It becomes increasingly irritating to both John and George Martin, but eventually a mutually satisfactory vocal part is recorded, and the vocals are overdubbed twice to give the illusion of 4 voices. As an added touch, George Martin also adds an automatic overdub effect to the harp solo, and that completes the overdub session. With the vocals recorded, the track is complete. It is a relatively rare Beatles song that uses only a string ensemble and harp and has no instrumental track that is played by a member of the group. Through all of this, Paul McCartney fails to make any connection whatsoever with the subject of the article. He simply found lyrical inspiration from a news piece. But he had a connection to the subject of that news piece, beyond the song that was just recorded. To explain the circumstance, we need to roll back time by over 3 years. October 4th, 1963, Rediffusion Studio, Kingsway Road, London, 6:08 p.m. The weekly live broadcast of Ready, Steady, Go begins. In 1963, most of the show is live, but typically the performances by the musical guests are mimed to pre-recorded versions of the performance. Originally broadcast from a cramped basement studio in Rediffusion's television house on Kingsway in central London, Ready, Steady, Go was a groundbreaking show. The cameras were frequently in frame from other angles, and the studio crew wove the bulky 1960s-era TV cameras in between the dancing audience members. Although it deliberately had the appearance of being a spontaneous party atmosphere, the shows were carefully rehearsed several times on broadcast day to help ensure continuity. A recurring feature of the show is called Mime Time, where 4 contestants mime a song and their performances are judged by a celebrity guest to select a winner. On this particular show, the Beatles have a guest spot. It is their first appearance on the program, as a matter of fact, and they are, at this juncture, merely very popular, rather than being a riot-generating act. Anyway, Paul McCartney is the celebrity judge for Mime
let's
Time.
Let's introduce the 4 contestants to you. They are, from left to right, Judy Johnson. Hello, Judy. June Dartnell. Hi, June. Hello, Kathleen Sullivan. Hi there. And hello to Melanie Coe. Right, they're all set to go, I hope, are you? Ready, Paul?
Paul watches the girls mime performances to a playback of Let's Jump the Broomstick and picks a winner. It's contestant number 4, Melanie. The prize to Melanie is an autographed LP. Upon discovering that her prize doesn't include a date with a Beatle, Melanie Coe later is furious. Anyway, Paul carries on with the business of being on the show and mentally dismisses the contest segment as it was simply an exposition as part of being on the show. Paul and Melanie would cross paths again, over 3 years later, if only in print. You see, Melanie Coe, that 13-year-old girl in 1963 who participated in a Ready, Steady, Go broadcast featuring an up-and-coming pop quartet known as the Beatles, became a 17-year-old pregnant teenager who ran away from her aristocratic home, leaving all the trappings of her former life behind, and her story made the Daily Mail on February 27, 1967, providing ample ideas for a pretty ballad by the Beatles that had awarded her an album in 1963 as winner of a TV miming contest. Melanie said in a 2017 Rolling Stone interview that she had no idea that the song was specifically about her, even though she had identified with it. It wasn't until she reached her 20s when her mother told her that the song had been written from the Daily Mail news piece. After she won the contest, the show's producer made her a background dancer on Ready, Steady, Go for a year. In another cuckoo coincidence, she also began frequenting the clubs in London, among them being the Bag of Nails, a favorite hangout of the Beatles, and sure enough, at the age of 17, before she made the decision to leave home, she was there with a friend who had told her that she and the Beatles were good friends in Germany. John Lennon appears at the door, recognizes her friend, and invites both of them to sit at his table. After she left home, her parents tracked her down and returned her to the home, but when she was 18, she escaped again by getting married. The marriage didn't last long, but she permanently moved away from her parents' home. She remained estranged from her parents to the day they died. In 1981, she moved back to the UK, and she still can't listen to the song even now, because it is simply too saddening to her. Hey, thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click on that like, thumbs up icon and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. You can also use comments to suggest video subject matter regarding pop music and pop culture from the 1950s to the 1970s. A great thing that you can also do to support the channel is just share the video with your friends. Just click on the arrow icon and pick the destination person and help us expand the audience. Speaking of supporting the channel, this would be a great time to subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber, and it's easy and free. Just click on the subscribe button and be sure to select the top notification bell on the drop-down menu so that you'll be notified whenever I post new content for the public. If you would like the opportunity to see content a few days earlier when it's viewable only to channel members, you can upgrade your subscription and become a channel member. It's not free to upgrade, but it's as cheap as YouTube would let me make it. Thanks again for watching.